You don't have to do that at all, Matt. All right, gentlemen, welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. We're here to talk about practical shooting, as you guys know. On deck today from the Midwest of the United States, we've got Matt Hopkins.
Hi, everybody.
From the Midwest of the United States, we have Joel Park.
Hello, everyone.
From the Midwest of the United States, we have me.
Need some diversity here.
We do need some diversity. Damn it. You guys got my joke. All right, you guys know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic to talk about, to banter about. We talk about that, interrogate you a little bit, and then we move on to some questions if there's time. So, who'd like to lead off?
Joel,
You'd like to lead off. Fantastic. Well, I know everybody has at least a reasonably interesting topic for tonight, so I'm very excited.
Go figure. Mine is off-season focused because it snowed yesterday. Yeah, like 3 or 4 inches of snow. So I'm not doing anything much other than like playing Red Dead online. So I've been studying match videos that I've done this year, just from my matches I've shot, and then I've been comparing that to other people. One of the things I did recently was Ben in the training group posted his match for Production Nationals, and I was just comparing that to the stages I shot, the plans I chose. And the theme for several of them, and I suppose it's different from match to match, but Ben did not make the stages any harder than they needed to be. So for instance, if you guys are thinking of the stage where there was head boxes, that's like the easiest way to describe it. There was 2 targets stacked on a left and right at the back of the stage. They were both head boxes. If
Joel, I'm just going to surprise you. Nobody, most of the people listening did not even shoot
if
nationals.
Anybody cares.
Okay. Well, anyway, imagine, you start in the middle. It's toes on, fault lines. There's head boxes that you could shoot like from the middle area, or you could run up to get closer and make these shots easier. So I could shoot them. I could just like step in bounds, draw, and shoot these, which it's like a head box at, 15 yards or something? Like, it's like shooting a distance change-up drill. It wasn't shots I couldn't make, but by running up closer to those targets, it made them way easier. And for the way the stage was set up, it made sense to. So it's like kind of a quick example. The other one that I think a lot of people have seen is that 6 reload 6, that classifier. So a lot of people were shooting, so to explain, I guess the people aren't familiar, there's a,
I think I know what you're talking about. So there was an opportunity to shoot while you moved a little bit if you really complicated the engagement order.
Yes.
Yes.
So some people, you'd shoot 6 shots, so a left, a right, and a middle target. So people were shooting left target, right target, and then on the move, you have to go forward up to a fault line. There was these closer targets you had to lean in to get. We're shooting the middle target on the move, then stick the load, and then shoot the last 6. And so I'm not going to lie, I did it that way because I knew I'd get hits, but I dropped like Charlie's I didn't need to. And then watching your videos, like, oh, I never really thought of it that way because
I shot right to left, left to right, didn't I?
Yeah, and you had to do the movement anyway. So by the time you did the load, the gun was loaded, was up, ready to roll by the time you were there. So that made sense. So I don't really have anywhere else to go with it other than just I'd practiced stuff. I knew I could make those shots. It wasn't that I was going to have misses or I was worried about it, but I was dropping Charlie's I didn't need to, and I was making some of that more difficult than I needed to be. And there was serious conversation on my squad, that headshot, the first stage I was talking about, or stage 3, some guys were thinking about taking it from the back, and then that was the last day we shot, and by then people posted videos. I'm always looking at Instagram. It's like, no, everybody's running up. I'm going to do that too. But yeah, there's just, I think just like a couple of things you talked about in your talk through is just either you're shooting or you're loading the whole time. So getting closer, not being more aggressive than you need to be. If that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And that wouldn't apply to every stage. Obviously, if there's a stage that you need to shoot tougher shots, then obviously you have to. But just not making stages any tougher than they need to be.
Well, I think I can add some color commentary to this, and that is many people, especially guys that are, I think you describe them as very experienced, but not necessarily They're experienced shooters, but not as experienced as competitors. Or maybe they are experienced competitors, but they haven't really internalized the experience that they've gotten. I'm not sure what the word is for that. But experienced shooters know what they can do. Like they have a good. They're like, oh, I can make that shot. I can do this
Yes.
thing. I can do that thing, and it'll save 0.2 of a second. But more experienced competitors just understand, especially in a high pressure situation like nationals, it really does not make much sense to complicate stuff for very, very minor gains. It just doesn't.
Well, on that specific array that you're talking about, it added a position. So you either run over to the left and shoot that head box at half the distance in one position for all 8 shots, or you started in the start box or start position and had to move to another position to finish the array.
Yeah.
So on that one, it made no sense really. I mean, I looked at it and saw both plans, and I saw a couple people run it before me on the squads. And after I saw them run it, it made no sense at all. I made a tactical error later in that stage, but that had nothing to do with that first part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm speaking more generally. I don't even give a shit about the specific scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I learned a lot. I was fortunate enough to squad with Matt. I think 3 majors we shot together last year. And so, like, hey, what do you think about this? Like this is a tougher shot. I can make this shot. And Matt would be like, there's no reason to do that. We just, that shed a lot of light on some of those stages for me. So, yeah, don't make it any tougher than you need to be. And if you need to make the difficult shot, that's fine. But
I was trying to think.
Not to be aggressive.
Oklahoma, we had some like that, maybe one.
Yeah.
And then I know we had one at Iowa with all the doors on it.
Yep.
That was also one.
Yeah. Like you could make the stage tougher, but what's your net gain out of it? It's like, well, not much.
You got to gain a lot. You got to gain a lot to do that kind of advantage.
Yes.
Like matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't make the stages harder than they need to be. Mr. Matthew, what do you got going on?
So I was just going to talk about polymer versus steel in production guns.
Well,
so
steel is the only way to go, and polymers for idiots is kind of the general consensus right now. Not my opinion, but that'd be most people's, right?
Is it steel or is it the trigger system?
I don't know.
Well, like the Glocks, you draw faster, right? And you maybe reloads are quicker. But maybe the metal gun weighs more, so it kicks less.
I've really only had experience with metal guns at a higher level. Like, I stopped shooting polymer guns a long time ago.
Okay.
But I've kind of picked one up lately just to kind of play around with it. And it's interesting. I don't know. Trigger's not as good, obviously.
You're talking about a polymer CZ, right?
Yeah, a P10.
So a double single gun.
No, it's a striker-fired gun.
It is? Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you draw it faster?
I don't know. I haven't checked. I haven't done a lot of practice with it. I kind of threw it together to see if it works and to see if it's kind of viable. And so far, I think it is. I think it's probably every bit as good as any Glock or Smith or SIG out there right now.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
it's not as good in terms of the accessories.
That's true, but it's like only a couple years old.
That is okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think what's your read on the polymer versus metal gun thing?
I think it's going to be good for carry optics. So it has a bigger mag like the Tanfolio Stock 2 mags. So it's wider, you get more capacity, easier. And I think the mounting options for the optics, it's already pre-cut for optics. So I can just throw like a Trijicon or a Delta Point or a Razor on there, like a Vortex optic, and go shoot right away. So I think I'm going to probably run that as my carry optics gun. Try to get it as light as possible.
Mm-hmm. So will it be better or worse? That's what people want to know, Matt.
I think it's a totally different option. It's a $500 gun versus a $1,300 gun. It's already pre-cut for an optic, so there's that.
I don't want to buy skill. I don't want to get good. Just tell me what gun to buy that's going to make me awesome, right?
I think the Shadow 2 is a better USPSA/IPSC gun overall. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it was purely made for that.
Yeah.
But like a P10 entry level into the production market or whatever, or shooting production, you're going to carry it also. Stuff like that, totally viable.
Yeah. A friend of mine has that gun, and I liked how sharp the checkering was too, actually, on the frame.
That-
Like, you hang on to that thing, and it stays put.
It's one thing I found. I don't have to use pro grip with it. I know it's
Yeah.
winter time, but I think it'd be interesting to see in the summer also.
Well, how cold is it down there, Matt, right now?
It's like 28 degrees.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's the worst of Texas and the worst of Wisconsin.
Where you live?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we had,
that's
like,
a good way
8
of putting
inches
it.
of
It's
snow
pretty
already.
heinous there.
Yeah.
I didn't really think of it that way.
It gets as cold as you guys get.
You don't get the snow, though.
Yeah, we haven't lately, but we have so far this year.
I can't really tell you what it's been like in Wisconsin. I haven't been around.
Must be rough.
What? I don't know. I don't really mind
Actu-
snow.
Actually, I wouldn't want to live. I don't want to live out of a suitcase, so I'm not jealous of that part.
You would not want to live out of a suitcase.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so not Matt. That wasn't as spicy as I was hoping. I was hoping you'd
Well,
call
I've
some
only
people
shot it
idiots
at
or
a few
something.
handful of matches. I've done some like seeing how good the trigger can get, stuff like that. Let's just say more review to come. This is just a teaser.
Yeah,
I might do a show and tell on one.
I really don't think that the plastic guns are at a disadvantage in production. I think the trigger system's an issue for IPSC rules, but they've
Yes.
now changed that.
Yeah, they've changed it.
In USPSA, I don't think it matters. Everybody shoots metal guns, but again, kind of the assumption that a metal gun is better, I think, is a bit silly, especially shooting minor. I mean, in carry optics, my carry optics guns have different recoil springs in them because of the different weight of the optic, on the slide.
Yeah.
So it really changes the recoil impulse of the gun. And my all plastic carry optics guns do not recoil violently at all. They're really not obnoxious in any way. So I don't know.
I would like to say one little minor rant. I've seen people switch from Glocks to a metal gun because they're like, oh, this gun kicks so much less. But if
Yeah.
you don't hang on to it, like if you don't grip that thing hard, they're both going to flip around in your hand. Like, it doesn't matter what you're shooting. You have to hold the gun hard. All right.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is a true story. Okay. Let's move on. Who's next? Me. Okay, so
Yeah,
guys,
what do you
I
wanna talk
shot
about?
a level 3 match in Russia. So you guys were curious about it.
Yes.
So this would be a fun thing to talk about. It was not. I didn't go there for that reason, but I happened to be there while the match was going on, so I shot the match.
So should we explain level 3 for just a second?
Well, level 3 is a rules function. It's like the same level as an area match by the rules.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to explain. Like, if people hear Area 3 in USPSA, they think nationals, though. So
Do they?
that's technically what it is.
I mean, I guess. So the way
yeah.
the way it works at the club I shot at, they do 4 of these matches a year. So it is if you ask them, they'd say it's their club match, but it only happens 4 times a year. It's not a monthly thing. And it's 12 stages, and it's run under under the level 3 situation. So it's kind of an oddball match in terms of how it's positioned. Like, to them, it's a club match that they don't care that much about, but they hand out trophies and there's president's medals, but it happens 4 times a year. So it's kind of an odd deal in that sense. So it's 12 stages, and it happened over 3 days, I think. But you only shot in a half day. So that's what it was.
But it's not invitation only, right? It's just like anyone can go. Is that a correct statement, or does it fill up?
I think maybe it was full. I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird position in terms of registering for matches. So
Yeah. I get it. Well, I don't know if you discussed the name of that range or not, or if you want to, but I've
sure, I
seen.
can.
Go ahead.
It's the Archangel Michael range in Ekaterinburg in Russia. So there's other matches out there. There's the Eurasian Extreme is held there.
So I've seen
about to say-
videos. Go ahead. Sorry.
They host other matches besides this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do
They
they
bid
have
for
like
the
a monthly?
Europeans for next year and didn't win the bid, but they did bid for it.
That range looks so nice. So it's outdoors though, right? Do they have indoor also, or
It's both.
is it
So
both?
there's an outdoor section with 30 bays, I think.
Holy crap!
But it's indoor outdoors, so it's sort of strange. So at the outdoor range, you shoot outdoors. So you are outdoors, but you're under baffles, so it's kind of shaded. And if you're not shooting, so if you kind of like walk behind the firing line, it's got a roof on it, like fully a roof, a floor, refrigerators, drinks, and that stuff. Like so, where you're seated, it seems like it's indoor. It's like being on your porch or something. So you're sheltered, but you're still outdoors technically, I guess. Does this
And
make
is
sense to you?
Yeah. Are the outdoor the ones? It almost looks like a log cabin kind of walls, or like
Yes,
wood.
the outdoors are wood.
Okay.
So the
And
wall you can't shoot into the walls, but that's no problem because they have mobile bullet traps.
I was gonna ask you how they did that because I saw they had like lay down targets and stuff. So,
Yeah, so all the target stands are actually bullet traps.
oh, okay,
Hmm.
that's awesome. Yeah, I've seen videos of that range, and the guys look very like there's a lot of sense of pride, like for attending, like to being at that range. It looks like from what I've seen, like guys are just they're really looks like it's a privilege more than a right, maybe to go there, if that's a good way to say it. Like they're excited to be there, and it seems like from what I've seen, that guys really enjoy that range. So,
Well, the range is kind of I would say it's almost like a charity situation. So the range is there, and so for this match that I shot, I think maybe the start fee was I don't know exactly, but it was maybe 500 rubles, which is $8.
oh wow,
Yeah, so they're not trying to make money at this. Like
wow,
they don't care about that. To shoot the Eurasian Extreme match, I think it's like $12 or some shit.
holy crap!
Hold
Like
on, that's entry fee?
that's the entry fee. They don't care about making money.
What?
Yeah.
Where does the money that funds the range, or how do they pay for all that?
From
Thing?
the range owner basically is financing all this. He just pays
Wow.
for it.
So they
And
just
then
want the competition to get there and to grow the club or the
right.
at least range.
And the club members, my understanding is that in exchange for like the membership fee is very minimal, kind of like the match fee, and the club members kind of work the matches a couple times a year in exchange for the membership, and then they go there and shoot there. That's my understanding. I don't really know how that all works, but
Wow.
that was what I picked up on. So the outdoor range I think is 30 bays. It might be 36 now because they added some, I think. Then there's an indoor range as well, and the indoor range is where the match was because it's way colder there than it is in Kansas City right now. I'll tell you that.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, it's a similar climate to where I live.
Do they have
Okay.
any special tricks to not make the floor slippery? Like here, like if it's a slab of concrete, like for our indoor ranges here, and you get like unburnt powder on it and stuff, like it's kind of slick.
They
Do
don't.
they do
The
anything?
floor is not a concrete slab. It's got a coating on it. It's
Okay,
not. I wore street tennis shoes there and never slipped around.
that's awesome. So
Yeah, I
it's a
didn't.
different finish they put on it then,
I
or
think so.
coating. Okay, I
Yeah,
was just curious.
it's not slippery at all. And the
That's
range
awesome.
the range is purpose built for action shooting, so the sidewalls can be impacted on, and then all of the target stands are also bullet traps.
Wow.
So then they're also quite experienced and good at building multiple stages in the same bay. So they'll have two short courses in a bay and a long course in the same shooting range.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're quite good at it.
So
So I did actually do a video of this. It'll go up in the training group. Well, I don't know, at some point. I
yeah,
have a lot
besides
of
the
content
range and
stacked up if people want to
besides
see
the
it.
range and
Yeah.
all that, how was the match or like You
It
posted
was.
some videos on Instagram and
I
stuff.
did.
It looked
I
like
did post a few stages. Yeah.
the movers are pretty crazy on it.
Yeah. So
Dude, yes.
so what happened? I think this range came into being a few years ago, and the premier match in Europe when this range was built. This range isn't really in Europe. It's actually on the border between Europe and Asia. Like in that city, I think there is a monument that is the border between Europe and Asia.
Wow.
So like what happened is they built that range and then they just went to the premier match in Europe, which is the CZ Extreme, and they just walked around the match, had looked at the moving targets, and then they just bought a bunch of the same movers. And then I think at some point they made it even crazier. So for example, they might have a swinging plate at the CZ Extreme match. So now at this Russian range, they have Mickey Mouse, which is two plates on the same swinger, or 3 plates on the same swinger, stuff like that. So they just up the level of it. So it's very common at this range that pretty much every place you go to in a stage is going to have a moving target of some description. Like you can expect a mover on every stage, and as I'm thinking about it, there's only 2 stages out of 12 that didn't have a mover.
And it looked like they were half-scale targets. Like some of those was like you couldn't see the dwell on them, or they looked very difficult.
They were. So they're not fucking around with the moving targets. They're very hard.
That's awesome.
They're very hard. So for that, but they don't really partial stuff up super hard. Is if they want to make the shots difficult, they make the targets move. So that's just the style of range they have there. The amount of moving targets they have available on that range is crazy, and they're all there kind of semi-permanently. So if you walk around the back of where they construct stages, they might have 6 or 7 moving targets all right there, but only 3 of them in use for the way the stages are built right then. And then they kind of change the stages up very frequently. And there's training events that happen there with, lots of moving targets. So the match is super efficient. It's 12 stages, 3.5 hours, something like that.
They do the resetting and all that.
Yeah, they do all that stuff. You don't do any of that shit.
Yeah, and you're paying like a very low entry fee, and they treat you like a king, and they're good stages.
They don't necessarily treat you like a king.
Well, like resetting the stage is treating you like a king in my book. So.
Well, yes, then you'd be very happy, Joel.
Yeah, like Grand Island in August, you're like about to die of heat stroke while you walk, to set up all the stage and stuff.
It's way more efficient to have the same people reset the stages.
Yeah.
It's way more efficient, and they're very efficient about the scoring too. Like they just don't waste any time. It's super slow to have people reset the stages themselves and learn how all the moving targets work and all that stuff. But if you have dedicated staff, super fast. So it makes for quite a nice experience. And then they have cool prizes. Like I won an iPhone.
Saw that.
For winning the match, I got an iPhone.
So they
crazy.
So they have an awards banquet for a match that happens 4 times a year.
Correct. And the awards banquet was better than Nationals.
So they had food there also?
Yes. And music, and they had a video of the match that was made during the match already playing.
Yeah, I've watched their YouTube channel. Like that's like such a high production quality for their videos.
Yes.
I'm super
I was about
impressed.
to say, is it just on another level there? Like
Yes.
Okay.
Totally different level.
Okay.
It seems like just like they don't care. They want it to be the best. And so that's what they're going to do.
It's not a money thing there. It's like they're not about making money or and people don't get all bitchy about the culture. The culture of the range officers is different. Let me put it that way. They don't get bitchy about making everybody walk around there and like make it look good like they're pasting targets, even when it's totally unnecessary and silly.
Gotcha.
Well, there's a lot of stages like that. Like everybody walks down there when there's a classifier stage, like, hey, you're going to make it look
For
good.
3 targets, yeah.
Yeah, you're walking around down there like, I don't know why I'm down here, but whatever. I'm going to make it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could rant about that, but
what would the point be?
I know, yeah.
The BOCs aren't going to change.
Just have one guy go down there with the paster gun, smash all those targets. The rest
No,
of them
there was
blacks.
actually a really funny incident at Nationals with a friend of mine doing that.
Oh,
So
no.
their squad was sending one guy down with a paster gun on a classifier stage, and the range officer lost his mind.
What?
Yeah, he got so mad. He's like, we need you guys to help. Come down and help. It's like,
And you've got them all like pasted up before they can even get
they're
it
all
scored.
pasted.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what you want here.
Gosh.
I heard that story. It was pretty hilarious.
100% believe it. 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the way it goes. So anyway, super interesting to shoot a match, kind of a small match in Russia. I like shooting little matches in other countries just to see how their little matches function. Like I had a great time last year shooting a Tuesday night match in Australia.
You
It
think
was
that
great.
that gives you a better insight on how the different areas of the world are and operate
Yes.
than going to the nationals for that or the European handgun.
Exactly. Like the Europeans doesn't really, it's not going to tell us shit about how matches really work in Serbia.
Right.
It really doesn't.
Right.
But shooting like a little club deal, kind of understanding the local flavor, like that's kind of what I want.
You
So
get more of the local guys too, instead of maybe the upper tier guys that just go to Europeans.
Yeah, of course. So I enjoy that. It kind of I kind of get a sense for the experience there. So I really enjoyed obviously I enjoyed the match. I like shooting matches pretty much anywhere, but I mean, yeah, had a great experience. I can say sort of without a doubt the least efficient matches are the ones that we do in the U.S.
So what would
No
to
doubt.
change that, or is that a separate thing?
We need more paster guns, Matt. That would change it.
No, it wouldn't. It's an added. Look, do I care? Like, I mean, let me put it this way: it affects me least of anyone. Doesn't make any difference to me. I just kind of like, okay. I don't care. I don't care too much at this point because it's just as easy for me to fly to someone else's country and shoot there than it is to shoot here. It doesn't make. But you know, that's what we do. So anyway, yes, very interesting experience. I recommend it highly. Of course, if you ever find a way to go there, crossing borders with guns, especially into Russia, is a little bit complicated, but it's a worthy experience if you get the chance. And I think the match to go to at that range would be the Eurasian Extreme.
Is it 30 stages or?
I think 24. I think 24 stages. Doesn't
Well
matter.
worth it, though?
I've been there before. I think it's 8 stages a day, like in half days. Of course, you're not pasting anything.
4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and if you like the moving targets, if you happen to see any of the videos that I put up, or especially the training group guys will see the whole match. If you like that idea for stages, you'll shoot a lot more of them at the Eurasian Extreme. A lot more stages. But very interesting, very good times. And I should say that, Joel, you like the stage design?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to just hit on that. But yeah, it's not like you went to a port and you shot 8 shots.
No.
And then you reloaded and you went to another port and shot another 8 shots. So
No.
it looked like there was a lot of options too for some of the ones that I saw you post or that you've sent me. So
Yeah, and it was also run under the IPSC flavor where you get like between 2 and 4 minutes to look at the stage depending on how big it is.
and some of those were complicated.
Very
Wow.
complicated. Some of them were very complicated. So in that context of only having a couple minutes to look at them, you really have to understand moving targets. So I've shot at that range enough that I understand how, if it's a swinging plate, it's like, yeah, okay, I understand how that works. I've seen that a bunch, so I'll just, handle it this way. But if you were new to a place like that, oh man, it's going to be a kick in the balls, that's for sure.
One thing
Plus-
I noticed is you had to hit the activating target sequences perfectly. The way you shot them, at least.
Yeah, I tend to go at stuff pretty hard.
Yeah,
I like
like
to do
your
that.
orders were a little ridiculous, I thought.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Dude, come on. You shot like activator and 2 plates, and then
Yeah.
2 moving plates
Yeah.
that didn't come up at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Hot fire. Yes. Very
Yeah.
good.
I actually got a video of some training I did there too on the same range. So after the match, I stayed and did some training, and the training stages were built by the same crew. And there was one training stage where there was an activator that activated a bobbing paper target, and the bobbing paper target activated a bobbing plate.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
And the sequence I did was activator, static paper, static plate, bobbing plate.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll like that. So you'll I'm gonna put up a
Wow.
moving target discussion video in training group, and you'll see that order. You'll be like, "What the fuck?"
So
Like,
7 rounds.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
and
kind
it
of
was
crazy.
it was weird because the gun transitioned right, left.
Let me guess, it worked perfectly too for every
Well, yeah,
shooter.
of course. Well, for what, other shooters or me?
No, I meant like the activating targets worked the whole time.
Oh yeah, they worked every time. Of course. I didn't see any range equipment failure at all while I was there.
Do you see any reshoots at all?
Um,
I guess if
Trying to
there's no
think.
range equipment failure, why would they reshoot? Interference?
Yeah, I can't think of any reshoots.
So how many people went through? 300,
200,
400?
250?
Okay, so we don't need to
Yeah.
get into the rule, but obviously popper calibration was not an issue then. What did they do differently? Did they have different
They-
type of steel, or is it like
They
it
have
didn't look as heavy maybe as ours is?
Their steel's just higher quality, better stuff.
Okay.
To be honest, and they don't have that many full size poppers. The mini poppers work a lot better, and they're indoors on flat surfaces. They're not sinking into mud and shit like that. And when they put up poppers on the outdoor surfaces, they're on wooden plywood shit. So they have a base.
Okay.
So basically, they use higher quality stuff, and then they have people actually look after it.
Sounds like it's more permanent too, though.
Everything there is semi-permanent. It's not any of it's permanent, but it could be left in place for a long time. Like,
Yeah, but it's not staked down to the morning of the match or the
no,
couple
it's
days
not.
before.
They can test stuff out. And then the other thing is there's no other demand on the range. So the range's only purpose is practical shooting.
That's awesome.
So it's not like, oh, we got to clean all this shit off the range for, for the public firing line to come in and do a thing. It's not like that. It's kind of like, no, they put stages here. They can leave them there as long as they want. There's no reason to move it.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, that is also not really a thing that exists in the U.S. Not much.
Right.
There's not much purpose-built practical shooting ranges. I happen to, Matt, you were there with me. I happen to have a purpose-built practical shooting range 20 minutes away from me.
Which one?
The range that you went and did a class with me at, and we shot a match.
That's all they do?
On the pistol bays, that's all there is. Practical
They
shooting.
don't let club members
There's-
shoot it?
Nope. I'm the only club member that goes there with a key.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the stages do sometimes stay up all summer. I remember one Wisconsin section match that was held at that range. I couldn't be there because I was doing a different thing in another place. But when I came back, all the section match stages were still up, and they stayed up for like 3 months.
Nice.
That's
So-
kind of cool.
Yeah, I got some good experience on the stages that I didn't shoot in a match. But yeah, that was very cool. So I guess I'm lucky. I don't know. Anyway, guys, you want to do some questions?
Yes.
Well, we'll
Yeah,
sign you
we're
up for that.
33 in.
I know. I got a little
right.
timer right there.
All right.
I mean, 33 minutes is good. Well,
It's right on.
all right. This is a question that you're gonna love. Hey Ben, love the podcast. Congrats on the Nationals win. Other finishes for the rest of the dudes. Now to piss you off with the gear queer question.
Perfect.
I'll just skip to it. I used some factory 124 grain 9mm rounds for my first match and learned what it felt like to be properly popper fucked. My question, do you think it's worth it to buy a bunch of reloading shit for production, or should I simply buy some better factory 147 grain 9mm to ensure I'm knocking over that steel? I remember you saying you shoot
Oh my
factory ammo
God.
matches. Is this still the case?
It's because he's
Personally,
lazy.
I'd rather not fuck off my time when I could be practicing instead. Blah, blah, blah. Basically, here's the bottom line. Do you think I'm leaving a big competitive advantage on the table if I choose not to load my own low FPS 147 grain rounds?
All right. So I want to address the issue with the popper not being calibrated. If you are making power factor for your division and you shoot a popper in the scoring area and it doesn't fall, that is not because you need hotter ammo. That would be a problem with the popper or the way it's calibrated.
That's not what I heard.
Power
Yeah, shoot major. That's why Ben shoots limited now, some just so he doesn't have to mess with that, right? No.
Yeah, totally.
So no. And then for reloading, I reload because I'm cheap, and I shoot a lot. But otherwise, if you're financially set up and you don't have to reload, like, man, forget it. Like, I'll just open my garage door, have Federal like drop off a pallet of ammo, and I'll be good to go. So.
Is that what you're going to do?
It goes to the dock at work, actually. Pound Team Federal.
Yeah.
So do you, I thought the supposition that 147 are appreciably better at shooting over steel than the 124s. That's a little suspect to me.
No, it makes no sense. This guy shouldn't have to change his ammo to knock down steel. Like, get the stage fixed so you can actually shoot and make it equal for everybody. That's the answer, not changing your ammo.
I do use 124 grain ammo in matches, if it matters.
But
I've tried it all. I shot the first half of the year with 115s and the second half of the year with 150s. It made no difference on how I knocked down the steel. I didn't notice.
Well, or didn't.
No, 115. Well, yeah, exactly. It didn't matter if it was 115 or 150. So
yeah.
the total, it's the same. So if you're shooting a 115 at 1100 or a 150 at 900, it's the same basic. I don't know, what is the calculation for power factor? It's roughly the same, 130.
Well, I think the heavier bullets are going to hold their velocity better over range or something. But we're not shooting rifles here, people.
No,
It's not that much
matter.
of a fucking difference.
It's like 10-yard big powder. It's not gonna like.
Yeah, but anyway, to answer
His
this
ammo,
guy's,
his ammo's not the problem. It's,
I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Like, the ammo thing is so stupid. I mean, getting your ammo to scrape the power floor and thinking that that's going to be a big advantage, it's not.
nope.
Yeah, my stuff chrono's like 137-ish. Like, that's perfect because if I go anywhere, I'm
No, and I
usually
get it.
good.
Guys get a really heavy bullet and they load it so it scrapes the power floor, and then they shoot that in practice and they're like, oh, this is super, this is soft, this must be way better. But then, in real matches, in a real situation, it's difficult to tell the difference. But if your ammo feels hot to you, if your ammo feels weird, that will get into your head. It will disadvantage you. You will make yourself right if you believe it's a disadvantage. The
You
easiest
never notice
solution is just load your ammo plenty hot or buy factory ammo. You don't have to buy 115 grain stuff that's super snappy, but like buy, sensible factory ammo and it is fine. It will not be a big deal. And I like shooting hot ammo. My practice ammo that I load is hot because, well, for example, when I was in Russia, I was shooting S&B factory ammo. That is what I had access to. And if you're, going to be a little crybaby about the snap or the recoil or something, you wouldn't like that ammo.
Not that bad.
It's not that bad, but if you are, scraping the power floor at home and then you go to a different place and you're like, oh, this is all I can get, then you're going to...
That'd be pretty drastic then.
Yeah, you're not going to like it. But for me, it was like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
So I don't like that stuff to be in my head. So I would just, if I have practice ammo, I'm going to load it hot. If I'm loading my match ammo, I'm going to load it the same as my practice ammo. And, if I'm buying factory ammo, I'm going to buy factory ammo that's hot enough that I'm sure it'll work.
Yeah, and if
So
you
that's
have
the
any
deal.
doubt about it, load like 130 power factor, and then my stuff gets like 137. Load 500 rounds of each. Like load up some mags and do really high speed, like bill drills or doubles. Like I can't tell the difference. Like for that extra 5 power factor or 7, and then for that you've just got the extra margin that you're good at a match. So I don't like 115s, but 124s, 135, 147, like you give me any of that stuff to shoot. Whatever I get the best deal on is fine.
I find soft 147s or soft like the 150s from Federal. Like those are so soft. I don't like it. I like a little more giddy up, just a little more. So I kind of do prefer 124s, but not very strongly. It's kind of when I shoot 147s, they just feel slow to me. Everything feels slow.
I thought that would happen too when I switch over to the 150s.
You get used to it fast, though, I think.
I got used to it, and I never even noticed like even the gun feeling slow. Honestly, never at all.
I can't tell the difference, but
It's a matter of getting used to it. That's all.
yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I think we're gonna call it. Listeners, if you have a podcast question you'd like the answer to, go to bensteger.com, send me your question via email. You just click on the contact form, whatever. It sends it to me, and I log it. It's great. All right. Yeah, so go there. Is there anything else I should mention?
Training group.
Training. Oh, business stuff. Yeah.
Keep your train on.
pstg.us. You hear us talking about training groups sometimes. Full disclosure, Joel's a moderator on there, which is a pretty easy job for you, isn't it, Joel?
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, here's what I want to talk about for that. Yes, so if somebody's post, like, I don't like it, yeah, I could nuke it. But, like, guys are so well behaved on that. It's like,
yeah,
we've talked about, there are no shenanigans on there, which I like.
Zero.
There's
None.
no trolls. Because, like, I don't have a patience for trolls. And there's none of that. Like, guys just want to get better. So, like, I like that.
I did see a few guys who there's a few people who are not members who've complained about the price, and I just know, like, that guy's not a member, so he doesn't get it. The people that are members, and there's quite a few of them now, the people that are members understand that we've actually priced it to price out dickheads. Like, that was the whole point. It's not even really a financial decision. It's like we just keep the douche canoes out of there by making them pay, and if you paywall it, people behave really well. It's kind of good.
Like,
that, and then and because it's like a paid thing, I'm Johnny on the spot about answering questions and doing video feedbacks. I don't think anything on there sat for more than 36 hours before it gets addressed. But that's just
But not having the trolling or the shenanigans is, like, worth the price of admission. Like, I like that.
Well, yeah, of course you do. The price of admission for you is being the moderator, but there's no work. But there's no work for you to do.
Which is perfect.
Damn it. Should have thought
Win-win.
through that. And then the
Yes.
other thing, oh yeah, I should probably mention this. The other business thing, if you go to bensteger.com and click on take a class, you can see my current schedule for the year. I'm recording this December 3rd, by the way. A lot of people reach out to me. They're like, oh, do a class, or do a class, do a class. Okay, here's the gig. My calendar's fairly current. So what that's telling you is I cannot take you until, as I'm looking at this calendar, probably September or October. If you're looking to book a group class, it's going to be very difficult for me to make it work between, until September or October of 2019. Okay, it will not surprise me when people start reaching out and booking stuff for 2020, because my schedule fills up very quickly at this point. And it's basically, as soon as I know when the matches are, as soon as I know when the things are happening, then classes start filling up around it. Right? I have to shoot IPSC Nationals in the U.S. in July, for example. I think it'll be July, but I can't book anything in July until I know those dates. Of course.
Dates out yet.
Why would they put dates out? Why would they do that?
Because we're not in 2019 yet.
Yeah, it's not 2019, so it's not like anybody needs to know or has anything going on.
Plan ahead for.
Yeah, so I'd like to do Eurasian Extreme and US IPSC Nationals, but I need to know when the fuck US IPSC Nationals is in order to schedule that, and then I can kind of fill in classes around that stuff. I just don't know. So everything prior to that is full. Like, I can't take you if I want to. So that's the deal. So I'm sorry about that. So if you can't get me, you might want to email me anyway, and I can put you in touch with Juanzik, and can send him out there, and he will maybe be able to do a class. Otherwise, I'm sorry. I do my best to accommodate all the requests I get, and you guys know how busy I am, but it is challenging because I have a lot of demands put on me. Let me put it that way. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you much for listening. And Joel, Matt, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.